This is a clip from the Red Cow Arcade podcast.
Speaking of Disney, I saw Lightyear.
You did?
I did.
Oh, right.
I did. I went and saw it with my kid. I saw it this week. I saw Lightyear with her, and I saw Minions with her. Minions was better. Minions
So, which was more for children?
Minions. Yeah, Lightyear was, I don't know who the hell Lightyear was for. It was I think it was some ideologue's fever dream. It certainly had nothing to do with fucking toys.
It's such a ill-conceived thing. I remember seeing the trailer for it.
The core concept could be good. I like the opening slate is like, in 1995, a boy named Andy received a toy of his favorite toy, called Buzz Lightyear, based on his favorite movie that he saw that year. This is that movie. And so the conceit is you're about to watch the movie Andy saw. Now, of course, that falls apart very fast because there's no way this film would have been made in 1995. It would have been live action if it was that version. So it would not be an animated thing. If it was animated, it would not look like this. And so like that, everything about it kind of makes no sense. And for a 10-year-old boy, it's not an exciting film. I'm sorry to tell you. There's no like, the heroics in it aren't especially heroic. The monsters aren't especially compelling. If you don't mind me spoiling Lightyear a little bit.
I don't care at all.
Zurg is in it, but he's not really Zurg. He's not really just some evil alien emperor. No, there's a twist. And the twist is he's actually like a multiverse, fucking more multiverses. He's a multiverse Lightyear himself. He is Buzz.
Oh, fuck off.
And it's meant to be like Buzz is kind of a bad guy, and that's all, like there are undertones of that throughout the whole thing. Like there's some moment in it where he's like, cause he ends up, all right, so here's how it goes. His mission.
That's what Andy would rush out to buy a toy of that.
Andy would hide in the bathroom until the fucking movie was over. Andy would play with his balls until the thing was done. He crash lands on some planet, and they're all stuck there, and it's like The Martian, but with like a colony of people. And they decide they take several years to rebuild. I don't know, I guess like something that can go light speed so they can get out of there. And he tries to do all these trial missions, but every time he does, it's like Interstellar where time passes differently. So every time he does a test, 4 years passes and they all have to wait for him.
Oh,
and so
this sounds riveting for a child.
Riveting. So every time he does it, they get a little older, and all of his friends basically either age out and die, or children he knew become grown-ups. And then, they're like, actually, we'd like to stay here and whatever. And there ends up being like a resistance to the people who want to stay there. And he becomes friends with them. And one of them is like the granddaughter of his old best friend. Yeah. This has a lot to do with
what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is like, sounds like some like weird ponderous thing. Like, wasn't there like a Saturday morning cartoon show of Buzz Lightyear that's like more campy and fun? Like he should be goofy and campy and fun, like his toy.
Do you remember that trailer where they're like, "There's a star man waiting for the sky"?
Yeah, I saw that trailer and I was like, I'm not watching this film. That's not Buzz Lightyear.
Inspiring tale of Buzz. Next, Woody. Next, Bullseye.
Yeah, I think I saw like a meme on Twitter or something. It was like Brokeback Woody or something.
Didn't they do like Brokeback Mountain with Toy Story as a trailer? There was a period of time where, in fact, I knew the guys who did the first one. They did it was Chocolate Cake City, the comedy troupe. They did Brokeback to the Future. And,
oh yeah.
Yes, and it was Marty and Doc were in love. And it's pretty funny. and they played that song, you know. But anyway, so yeah, he ends up like becoming friends with this kind of misfitty group, and it's like the granddaughter, it's an old lady, and it's Taika Waititi. It's Taika Waititi.
He's in everything nowadays.
And he's like Korg.
He's Korg again.
Quipping the entire time. He's like clumsy and stupid, and that's the thing there. And so what Buzz has to learn is that Buzz can't just always be Mr. fucking hero. he can't always be rushing out. No. So they say things like, Buzz, these are lines from the movie. Buzz, we don't need you to save us. We need you to join us. He needs to become an ally. Or Buzz at one point goes, guys, I need help. Like he has to like admit he needs help. Of course, he's the main bad guy. I don't know. I don't know what the film is. I don't know what I'm watching. And
yeah, it seems confused. There's no audience for this. And apparently. Obviously it's bombing, so there is no audience for it.
Tim Allen was just as confounded as we were. The fact that, I mean, just going off the internal logic of the thing, the fact that it ultimately was animated, also it doesn't make sense then that Tim Allen wouldn't be the voice, because Tim Allen is the voice of the toy and they would have taken the samples theoretically. I think they don't want Tim Allen as the central to their marketing probably.
Yeah, well, I think even just if you would have to have a goofy Buzz, you'd have to have a goofy.
Yeah, he's not going to carry your emotional interstellar movie.
Yeah, no.
Emperor Zurg. Yeah, it really just has nothing to do with Toy Story. I mean, it's just somebody's. But they greenlit it. They were like, yeah, totally. And it probably is kind of like the Marvel TV shows where the pitch for the pilot sounds pretty good and kind of interesting. You know what I actually bet happened? I'm reasonably confident this is what it was. Those Toy Story movies all made money. Every one of them. If Pixar needs money, they make a Toy Story movie. And it's been very reliable up until this point. And when they don't make, they make Good Dinosaur, they make whatever, and the Cars stuff always makes money too. But Toy Story is kind of more prestige and it's their history. And so I think they were like, we probably should make Toy Story 5. And they were like, but that's Toy Story 5. I mean, like, we've stretched this concept pretty far. Like at this point, the toys are retiring and they're leaving the kids.
Yeah. Some of the voice actors are dead. Or...
Yeah, right. We're piecing them together like Darth Chef and stuff. Hey, Don Rickles. And so they probably were like, how do we do, like a Toy Story spinoff that will carry the same commercial appeal? And somebody was like, well, what if we made the Buzz Lightyear movie that Andy saw? And they were like, that's genius. Because it kind of is. That's not a bad idea at all. But they just didn't do that. They made
Interstellar with Buzz Lightyear.
Do you think? I think that maybe Hollywood has a talent acquisition problem like all industries right now. I think, especially with like
all industries.
With the amount of content that has to be produced to keep up with a streaming release schedule and everything, and all these mandates for like, make content for this property or that property. I think even though there's a lot of people who would like to work in television and film, I think the harvest is great and the laborers are few.
Yeah. Well, it's like, how I can't get a contractor to work on something in my house. It's right. There's a shortage everywhere, man.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot like contractors, they can be independent with apps and stuff, and we can go direct to YouTube with our ideas. So I think some people are like, well, I'm not going to work in this like sweatshop making like, I don't know, Thanos's tongue on a computer. Yeah. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah. And obviously Lightyear didn't make a big splash. It bombed, but a lot of the stuff that we dislike heavily, people we respect, who are smart, who we like, they're like, I don't see any problem with this. So there's maybe they don't need to be so good. Maybe they don't need to strive so high.
No. I think things are going to collapse. I think there's a reckoning coming. I think a reckoning is coming to Disney.
Yeah. You think there's going to be like like the creative equivalent to an economic recession, like a creative recession, like where like everybody keeps tuning into shows and movies that they're hoping will be good and then they're not. And at some point, it's it's like writing bad loans. Like,
well, it's. I think it's going to happen. Well, I think it's already happening to HBO Max. They're canceling shows.
You know what will be the big one? Seriously, like no joke. That Lord of the Rings Amazon thing is going to be it.
Yeah,
that's going to be that's going to be the Hollywood crash.
It's going to be the Enron. It's going to be
that's going to be it. That's $750 million, and they're going to make like $10 off of that thing.
No, it looks it's going to be a turd.
Looks like fucking trash.
Well, because I saw HBO Max is canceling a bunch of shows left and right, and it seems like they're gearing up for something. I think there's going to be some sort of reckoning with streaming services and all this media content. And Disney, it's gonna come down. It's gonna consolidate.
But like Kenobi did amazingly well, like better than anything that they've ever made, and then the season finale was almost just as good. So like, I'm sure from Disney, I'm sure Disney would not make, like, I think Solo was a goddamn disaster for them. They were really, really upset with themselves over Solo. You really get that impression. And I think they're probably like that with Lightyear too. I think they're really disappointed in what they did with Lightyear. But I think generally they feel like they're on to, I read an article, I think Forbes was writing it, where they were like, Lightyear probably sent the message to Disney that the MCU is really, for box office, they're relying entirely on Marvel. And so like if for box office, if Marvel starts to fail, that might be it.
I'm very interested to see how Thor's number do in the next weekend.
I hear
because I don't think the word of mouth is very good.
I hear it's off to a bad start today.
Yeah. I guess, especially after Doctor Strange, which I was speaking of my Samsung TV. I put Doctor Strange on. I enjoy that way better than this new Thor movie.
Wow,
I think it's actually entertaining.
That doesn't bode well at all.
Yeah, so it's but it was also divisive, I should say. So
yeah,
after two movies in this phase 4 bore. This summer, it's like this is what you got. I
went really quickly from thinking Black Widow was a pretty bad MCU movie to being like, can they at least be as good as Black Widow?
it's actually kind of true.
Yeah,
because there's at least some human moments, like with the family at the dinner table, and
like I didn't view Black Widow as a turning point when I saw it. I viewed it as like, oh yeah, sometimes they come out with, across the 20 some movies, they've come out with a couple of like mediocre ones that are still, of a certain standard, but Ant-Man, but now, like, that's what I was saying. I was like Ant-Man, I think, was a standard bearer for like, yeah, we wouldn't want to get worse than this. This is like pretty acceptable. It's pretty good. You got a good star, you got a cool power, and we wouldn't, but the movie's just not that compelling. And so like, we wouldn't really want to go lower than this. And if you consider Black Widow, Eternals, No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, Thor, Love and Thunder. Those are the movies that have come out. And then you have Loki, Hawkeye, Captain Falcon, Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and WandaVision. And you're kind of like, yeah, of all of those, there's quite a bit of Ant-Man territory and lower.
And lower, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
And eventually it dilutes the brand.
And like you named all those, and it doesn't feel like they're building toward anything. And especially when you said in the beginning there, you were like, well, we had 3 movies and then it was the Avengers. Like, and it felt like you were building towards something.
Yeah. That was the promise, really. Every time they don't. Like, why wouldn't Shang-Chi intersect with something? Like, I mean, I guess it did a little bit with Wong. That was okay, you know what? Actually, that's fine. Like, cool. You intersected with Wong. Like, give me that. Make me feel like we're actually in, because otherwise it reminds me of the Marvel Netflix shows where like maybe once every 10 episodes they would mention Thor And you'd be like, "Oh right, this is a Marvel thing. I forgot."
Yeah, they would be like, "Oh," they would mention the events of the Avengers or something like, "Oh, remember what happened in New York City?" And they would be vague too, so it was like almost like off brand.
Exactly. It's like they had a rights problem that they didn't actually have.
Yeah, a rights problem within Marvel.
Well, I continue to like, Minions notwithstanding, I continue to like a lot of the content that Gloria likes between Bluey and Encanto, and she's really back into Frozen lately. And Frozen 2 is pretty metal.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.